All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Capitalize on Retirement. Today, we are talking about one of the most important income streams for pretty much every American. So, we read this article or got this out of an article, but the $500,000 Social Security decision most people get wrong. I mean, we talk about it fairly often on our workshop, Social Security, income planning. So, Brent, why don't you kind of get us started on why we mean that? What are we talking about here?
Yeah. So what we mean by that is, when most people retire, the big decision that they have to make is, when do I take Social Security benefits? And there's a lot of different options when you take your benefits. You could take it at 62. You could delay it until 70. So, and then anywhere in between. And so the reason that we talk about that $500 Social Security decision is it can be that drastic over a long period of time of benefits that maybe you're missing out on or that you're benefiting from by making the right decision. So, the difference between a person that files for benefits at 62 and 70 is drastically different. So what we're going to talk about today is, how do you know which decision is actually right for you?
Yeah, and it's tough because it's such a broad gap, right? We're talking about an 8-year time frame there, and if you're married, that's how the number gets so large. Because if you're talking about a $2,400 benefit at age 62, at age 70, that's $4,200 a month. So you're talking about an $1,800 difference a month.
Yeah, it's almost double.
It's almost double.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
So depending on how long you live, it could be a huge number. And a lot of people were kind of timid around making their social security decision. We help a lot of families with this. But I think the main message we want to get across is Social Security isn't just it's not a government check or a math problem, right? A lot of people kind of calculate the break even. Yeah. But Social Security to us is more income planning. It's longevity insurance. There's tax benefits to it. There's spousal protection, and most importantly, retirement income coordination.
Yeah. Yeah. So just coordinating everything together. And I think what we're going to talk about today, I guess let's just jump into it. Why most people claim too early? Because obviously, when we start to talk to the families that we work with, I can't tell you how many times we hear, I want to take my benefits early because I don't think they're going to be there in the future.
Clarify what taking early means.
Yeah. So what we mean by taking early is taking anywhere before full retirement age. So if your full retirement age is 67 years old, it's going to be taking anywhere from age 62 to 67. That would be taking benefits early.
Yep. And I think I'm going to do a little myth busting here because we hear it all the time. I'm taking my benefit early because Social Security is going to go away. And to me, that's a political issue, right?
Yeah.
And, not to speak poorly about our politicians but no administration is going to decrease our Social Security checks.
In our opinion, right?
In our opinion, right?
Yeah.
Purely opinion based. And the reason why is because they will never be up for re-election.
Yeah.
I mean, any politician who's out there who decreases your Social Security benefit by 20% or 30% or whatever it may be, it's political suicide. And the one thing we can all agree is politicians do want to be reelected.
Yep.
So I think that's not going to happen, but there has to be change coming. We talk about that often. And one of the changes that I see is higher taxation down the road on Social Security benefits or increasing the cap. So
let's just talk about that. So some of the things that may change, and we don't know this, but one of the things that may change is push full retirement age back for younger people.
Yep.
And, right now, full retirement age is age 67 if you're born after 1960.
Yep.
And so, they're talking about pushing that back. Maybe it's going to be age 70. Maybe by the time we take it, it's going to be 75 or 80.
Who knows?
So they may keep kicking the can down the road. But like you said, I don't think they're going to take Social Security away. People have put too much money into the program for them to just take it away.
No.
So
couldn't agree more.
And the other thing is taxes. You just mentioned it. I mean, right now, taxes are historically low. I mean, if the government starts to look at how much are we spending, well, can we just increase taxes? Like, that's kind of the simple solution, in my opinion. So in my opinion, one of two things need to happen, or maybe both. Push full retirement age back, or let's go ahead and raise taxes. Because at this rate, the Social Security Administration is saying Social Security will not be there, or it'll be depleted in 2033. So it's only 7 years down the road.
Yeah, 2033 is coming quick, and I think most people don't understand. Social Security was designed for lifetime income for all Americans, but the problem was with longevity nowadays.
Yeah.
Right, because I think when it was established, the longevity was age 65.
Yeah,
the average life expectancy.
Yeah, 65, right.
Well, it's like 88 right now.
Right.
People are living a lot longer due to healthcare advances, and that's great. But again, if you take that benefit early, it's reduced. That can be problematic, especially if you have longevity on your side. So I think it's important to note that you shouldn't take Social Security early based on fear.
Right, exactly. So, fear is obviously one of them. People have burnout from work, and they're like, you know what? I just want to retire. I want to start taking my benefits early. And, for some of the retirees that we work with, that makes sense. But for others, it doesn't make sense.
Yep.
So,
and there's something out there. Let's talk about the earnings adjustment.
Yeah.
Because I hear this often. I know you do too. We all do. But one of the things that most people don't realize is there's what's called an earning adjustment on Social Security. So if you take your benefit early from any time from age 67 to age 62 would be filing early if you're born after 1960. If you take your benefit early and you're earning more than $24,480 a year as income, your benefit's going to get penalized. So we're taking an early benefit. It's getting penalized. Now, we do get it back to us on the back end.
Right.
But most people don't want that to happen, but they don't realize that that's in play.
Definitely. Yeah. And, once you reach full retirement age, you can earn as much income as you possibly can.
Yep.
And that's when you won't be penalized anymore. So that's definitely something. That's a good point.
Yeah. And we're not telling people not to take their benefit early. I mean, we have people retire at all different ages, and very often we tell people to take their benefit at 62. But there's a lot more planning to that. You can't look at Social Security in that vacuum.
Yeah, so let's talk about the break-even myth, because I hear this question all the time. What's my break-even point? Right? Because if I delay my benefits until, let's just say, full retirement age, age 67 for most people, I'm delaying my benefits 5 years. So what's my actual break-even point? Because I'm going to get more if I delay it. And that break-even point is typically about 12 years down the road. So, maybe age 82, 83, 84. What I've seen, though, is when we run these plans for the families that we work with, I actually just did this for one of the families, and they both had to live, because they're going to spend their money, not Social Security. They're going to spend their actual assets versus taking Social Security. Their actual break even was like 90 years old. And they both had to live to age 90 for it to make sense for them to not take their benefits early. So I'm not saying that always happens, but if you have a lot of assets saved, sometimes it works that way, and sometimes it works the other way where you should delay them.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that's where, we talk about that 3 legs of retirement income, right? You have your Social Security, you have your pension income, which only about 15% of Americans have now, and then you have your retirement savings. Well, if you only have one leg of the stool and it's Social Security, more often than not, you should delay as long as you can. But if you have other legs, it broadens your options. And if you've been a really good saver, I know in our opinion, for most cases, we're going to tell people to turn Social Security on and delay their assets, because your assets have legacy value for the next generation.
Right.
Social Security has legacy benefit to your spouse, right? It has spousal protection, but there's nothing left to pass on once you're both gone.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And, the other thing, one of the risks, like you said, is if I do take my benefits early, I get less and it's permanent. And then my spouse ends up getting less along the way as well, because they take over my benefit, which for my case will be higher. So I think that's something to consider as well when you talk about longevity.
Yeah, I think I think just basing your decision on a break even is inappropriate, right? You have to have longevity in mind. You have to have sequence of returns, and then the options and flexibilities that you have throughout your retirement. All that has to come into play.
Yeah, and the reason we're talking about Social Security is because it can be drastically different for everybody. And that $500,000 Social Security decision that we talked about, I mean, all of these different changes, there's I think 500 plus different ways to file for benefits as a married couple.
Yep.
It's complex. So you want to make sure that you're getting it right. And one of the things that, our grandparents had when you talk about that three-legged stool
Yep.
is they had pensions. So most retirees back in the day, they didn't care as much about, and there wasn't as much at stake when claiming Social Security benefits because they had basically two fixed payments. They had Social Security, they had pensions. Well, today, pensions have kind of gone away.
Yeah, I think only 15% of Americans have them. And retirement is a lot different. Like when our grandparents retired, they kind of tightened their belt buckle. They lived on that fixed income. That's what they budgeted for. That's what they lived on. But the retirees and pre-retirees we meet with, they tell us, hey, I don't want to take a back seat, right? I've been working for 30, 40 years. Like, I want to go travel. Their kids aren't local anymore. They want to go see the grandkids, or they're taking trips. They're doing all these things they didn't do. We talk about it often. When you're in retirement, every day is a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I know that's when I spend the most money. So they're going to go enjoy it. They're spending about the same as they were bringing in.
Yeah.
And that's why that decision is just so important.
Yeah, so let's talk about taxes real quick. I don't want to. I know this is a Social Security podcast, and we don't want to focus too much on taxes, but I want to kind of coordinate how all of these things work together and why it's important to look at everything. So when we look at taxes on our Social Security, we call this the double tax. We pay taxes when we earn our income. Then when we receive that Social Security benefit, we can potentially pay taxes on that as well. So I'm just going to give a range, but if you're a married couple and your modified adjusted gross income is over $44,000 for the year, 85% of your Social Security is taxable. So most retirees get to retirement, they've saved into 401ks, IRAs, and when they take that money out as income, that all counts towards their MAGI, towards their modified adjusted gross income. And that pushes their taxation higher on their Social Security.
So what doesn't count toward that MAGI, right? So Roth IRA income or Roth 401k income does not count towards that MAGI. So if you have Social Security and you're taking income out of Roth,
right,
well, your income's essentially zero effectively. I think kind of to sum that up, right? Your income plan, your investment plan, your tax plan, all these things have to be coordinated.
Yeah.
And it just, the main point was you can't make this Social Security decision in a vacuum. You have to make sure you're looking at the other areas of your retirement plan.
Yeah, you got to coordinate it all together, and that's obviously a lot what we talk about. So I think when it comes to Social Security, there's a lot to it. It's very complex. The Social Security Administration is not allowed to give recommendations on when you should take your benefits. They can just give you your numbers. So it's up to everybody to make sure they're making the right decisions.
And it's a huge decision.
It is a huge decision. We put a lot of money into this program, so we want to make sure we're getting the most out.
Absolutely, and that's what we're here to help people with. So just to wrap this up, guys, the goal is not the goal is we want to make sure we're maximizing our Social Security, but it's about maximizing our retirement confidence or retirement plan. And to do that, we can't just look at that decision kind of in a bubble, right? We have to make sure it's coordinated with all other areas.
Yeah, definitely. And, if you guys do have questions on Social Security, drop us a comment. But please like, subscribe, share with a friend. We love doing it, and we love getting this out to more people.